Hi, my friends. It's Wednesday. It's hard to believe we're already midway through this week and coming up to Holy Week very soon. And as a pastor, I have to tell you, this is our busiest time of the year. This is when we prepare for several um, worship services throughout next week from Palm Passion Sunday. We've got Maundy, Thursday services, Good Friday. Some of us have Easter Vigil services, and then, of course, there's Easter. And so, needless to say, this is a crazy time of the year for any pastor. And now we have COVID 19 in the midst of it. Hi, Dustin. Good to see you. Oh, your family is beautiful, by the way. I'm just really, really enjoying them, seeing pictures of all of them. Bless you for that and doing what you're doing in ministry. So, anyway, this is a busy time for us pastors and those in ministry. And imagine now all of us in our homes as we are practicing social distancing, sometimes going to the office, but more often than not, we're here. And so, as we're trying to coordinate how we reach out to members and to all of you and to our colleagues, we've got to plan Holy Week services. So, it is a stressful time. I'm not going to lie that I myself have my own um, minor anxiety going on, nothing major. To make sure that I'm being effective as who I am. Hi, Kim. Good to see you too as a pastor, as a wife, a mother, as a friend to many. So we are discovering all these new challenges. And what happened today was I was on with five other pastors. We did a passion reading that we're going to be sharing with our congregations. So we did this on Zoom. Hi, Kimmy. We did this on Zoom. And then all of a sudden we had technical difficulties and somebody's computer wasn't right. And then we had to do this three separate times. And with busy schedules, hi, Karina. With busy schedules, we had to do three takes. And I could see my colleagues that it was exhausting for them, but it was life giving at the same time. So we know what it's like, all of us right now, to be under stress. And I was listening to a podcast, not so much a podcast, but a group I'm a part of called Faith Lead, and I went to a seminar a year ago, and they have ongoing care for us and courses for us. And a guy named Mark Sunby, who's also works with clergy and is also a therapist, um, wanted to talk to us about how to be our most resilient selves in times of um, COVID 19, excuse me. And so he was talking about how we could care for ourselves, and we were doing some Bible study. And so I'm taking us to Matthew 11, and it's a famous passage. These two verses. And let me pull up the Message Bible. It really speaks well to us in this context. Actually, three verses, 28 through 30, chapter 11. And if you read out of some other translations, you'll hear this is basically about let's see. Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will, or carrying big burdens, and I'll give you rest. This is the Message Bible. And so I'm going to read verses 28 through 30. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Freely and lightly. Oh, boy, did I need to hear that today. I don't know about you guys, but I needed to hear that. I have a good outlook on life. I am excited about doing all of this ministry and continuing to stay in touch with everybody in this new way. But there is a burden to that. And you can feel heavy inside with all of this stress. So this guy, Mark, had some wonderful things to share about how to stay resilient. And he did it according to a Harvard study. He referred to the Harvard study and how we need to practice some things that have proven time and time again to help us in stressful times, and to be resilient so we can come back time and time again and handle the daily challenges of our life and still feel that our burdens have been lifted. And so he said the number one thing, of course, that they studied is social support. Social support for us is so, so important. And he said it's not about the volume, like having mega friends, but it's about you having a sense that you have enough social support. You can have one or two friends, be an introvert, but are you getting enough from the friends you have, or a colleague, or a trusted person in your life? Are you feeling that social support? And are you supporting each other mutually? That constant contact, which we're learning is happening like this on Facebook, is happening in different things like Zoom or different ways by calling each other on the phone. Do we have enough of that social support, that contact we so desperately need? That is number one. Number two is something I haven't done in a while. Not going to lie, exercise. And he was talking about how if we were told that there was a pill that would make us feel better, look better, and be smarter in our brains, would we want that pill? Yes. He said it's exercise. And exercise can bring more benefits to us and increase its benefits to us the more we exercise. Of course, we hear the 3 times a week um, advice. If you can do it more, 30 minutes 3 times a week is great. But exercise is number two in staying resilient. And so, guess what? I'll be taking a walk soon. Number three is a tie: sleep and nutrition. Now, we hear about it all the time, but he talks about something I've known about, and that we should get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Even regardless if you function well on 4 hours of sleep and you swear by it, our brains need to clear toxins out of our brain, and the time we sleep is when that happens. So, in order for us to restore our minds, a healthy mind is getting the sleep also. Not only restoring our bodies, but our minds. And then nutrition, of course. I've been working with great people who've been teaching me on nutrition, and they talk about the gut biome, basically the bacteria in our gut, and whether it's healthy bacteria, and how important it is to eat cleanly. So that's talking about eating things that we're living, like plants, especially plant-based foods, fruits, things like that. What are we putting into our bodies? So as we're hoarding, we're running to the store and grabbing chocolate and wine and beer and chips and all the munchies. But are we loaded down with, hi Lindsay, are we loaded down with healthy foods for our bodies during this stressful time? And then, of course, in the Harvard study, time with God was also mentioned next. For us, we might see that as number one. But to have a faithful spiritual practice that connects us with God, connects our time with God, whether we sit down and read the Bible, we listen to a podcast, we read a book that reinforces our faith. We have spiritual talks with other people. I have pastor's tech study on Tuesday where we study the scripture. We have Bible study on Mondays at Christ Lutheran. So there are some things we can do as far as spiritual practices. I'm doing this, and it's not perfect. It's awkward sometimes for me, and I mess up. But what I'm doing is it's forcing me to look for verses in how I'm feeling this day and to share them with you. That makes me accountable in my own spiritual practice, and making sure I've got God in the forefront of my mind and in my heart. And that helps me, especially when I'm looking at my to-do list. And I've got quite the to-do list, friends. If I look at my to-do list, I was sharing this with the pastors today. This is just a weekly schedule of online stuff, not to mention my daily work, my sermon writing, and it's not a bad thing. I had to organize myself, but if I thought too much about it, I'd get stressed out. I'm sure we're all in those places, my friends. But here, are you tired? Jesus asks. Are you worn out? Again, Jesus asks those who are in his midst and those of us today. Are you burned out on religion? Or maybe the man made religion that puts so much on us, so much burden on us? Jesus says, come to me. Get away with me. Come away with Jesus. Take a Jesus vacation. That means seek out that relationship. And he says, you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. I don't think we think about it that way. If I come to Jesus, not only with my burdens, I just come to him and say, hey, I need time with you. That's where my rest is going to come. Walk with me and work with me. So what does work with Jesus look like? It looks like relationships. It looks about like having the relationship with God and then having the relationship with other people like this. So how are we doing that? And how do we work with people? How do we do God's work with people out in the world? We do it in love, the way Christ did. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I heard somebody describing what that meant today. The unforced rhythms of grace. What is that? Those are the things that we think about, the things that are forced on us in our lives, how burdensome they are. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. These people are expecting me to do this. I have to do this. And now I have to do this. The unforced rhythm of grace that is put on us is God's grace. That is freeing. The unforced rhythms of grace. That means it comes over and over and over again. And it can be a rhythm if we're open to it, receiving God's grace throughout our day, realizing that we can't do it all, be it all. We can't. But the unforced rhythms of grace are there. And if we ride in those rhythms, our burdens can be lightened. Jesus says, I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. To trust that if we take Jesus as source of our work and see it through the eyes of Christ, what we are to be about in our days, that it won't be heavy and it won't be over demanding. We're just supposed to keep company with him, and we will live freely and lightly. Hello, hey, Nicole, oh, and Barb. So I took the Message Bible for these 3 verses, Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30, the Message Bible. If we're tired, if we're worn, come take a real rest with me, says Jesus. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. And the experts, the counselor I was listening to on this website said, and if you want to learn how to be resilient, social support, seek out social support, exercise, sleep, practice good nutrition, and spend this time with God. So can we be kind to ourselves? And can we remind each other to be kind to ourselves? Self-care is not a selfish thing. If we're looking at it as our bodies are a gift of God, our minds are a gift of God, and we need to care for them in order to use them well. May you find some pockets of time to take care of yourselves. That was Jesus's thing. He was constantly saying, I am here for you. Do not worry. Being with me is not worrisome. Come seek me out. I seek you out. Do you see me there with you in relationship? And if you're tired or worn out, hey, come to me. We've got a friend in Jesus. May sound corny, but you know what? It's a friendship I treasure. May you have a good Wednesday, my friends, as we live day by day with this I was going to say little pandemic we're living through, but it really is pretty burdensome, isn't it? I pray for those who are in the stressful times in life. I pray for Nicole if you're out in the world, or anybody else out in the world caring for people. Um, Brian, hi Brian. This post I'm going to be posting after I finish this live broadcast is something I think I found life giving for me. These points I made and the scripture I went to. May you practice good self care by listening to the words of Jesus, by coming to Him and finding your rest there. We are not to be people who are tired and worn out. And if the world pulls us away and does this to us, or we do it to ourselves, we can, time and time again, through God's grace, go to Jesus Christ and seek out some time with Him and, of course, with each other to find the strength we need to get through these days. Prayers to the health workers, prayers to those who serve others and are out in the world. Prayers to all of you, my friends. I see through Facebook how you are caring for not only your family, but for others. May you find God's good care for you this day. Hi, Shar. I'm going to be signing off, but this post will go out. May God be with you, my friends, and take good care of yourselves. The Message Bible with Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. This is what I reflected on today. And those words speak strongly to me. Take good care of yourselves, my friends. Love you. Hello, Shar. You have a good day. See you all later. Bye-bye.